Hello, my name is Harold Swifty Shaver, and today we are in Osage, West Virginia at the Scotch Run Museum and Rail Trail. Scotch Run Museum is directed by Mary Jane Coulter and many volunteers. It was established to remember the Scotch Run coal mining area that was a booming coal mining area in the 1920s through the 1960s. Today we'll be talking about coal mining, and I have three gentlemen here that I will let them introduce themselves and their experiences.
All right, my name is David Coulter, and I'm a retired coal miner. And when I was a young man, I heard stories from my Uncle Slash about Dad, Red Coulter, and they was coal miners. My older brothers was coal miners, and that's all I ever wanted to do was be a coal miner. And I ended up working in the coal mines for over 30 years, starting out with Arkwright Mine, and I retired from Blacksville 2 mines, and I enjoyed about every minute of it. There were some days, good days and bad days, but that's all I ever wanted to do. And me and my wife, she worked in the bank, and I had 30-some years in the coal mines, and it was a good living. We made good money, and I loved it all, always.
My name is Gregory Hicksonball, and my family, I was raised in this part of the country down around Osage and Purse Glove, and we live in Core, West Virginia right now, and I work for Consol at 15 mines, Osage mines, Loveridge, and Blacksville.
I'm Robert A. Coulter. I'm retired from Loveridge Mines. I started at Arkwright Mines, and I worked over 30 years in the coal mines. My grandfather was one of the first presidents of the United Mine Workers. My brother Danny was eventually a president of the United Mine Workers. And we've been a coal mining family all of our lives, and I've been here in Osage all my life. Still here.
Gentlemen, today what we want to hear from you is your experiences in the coal mines. Just talk generally about, your experiences of working down in the coal mines and what it was like, and we'll enjoy everything you have to say.
Well, like I said, Swifty, my dad was a coal miner, my granddad, my older brother, Brother Bob started in the mines a couple of years before I did. And I had everything pictured different when I went to coal mine. As soon as I went down there, I thought everything was going to be black, but it was some places was white as snow because of the rock dust. They had the rock dust, mixed the rock dust with the coal dust so the place wouldn't blow up and stuff and everything. And I enjoyed every minute of it. Like I said, I had over 30 mines in there. And all the coal miners, they took care of each other, watched out for younger guys whenever you started, and they didn't want no one to get hurt. And it was just an enjoyable job. I loved it.
Well, I started right after I came back from Vietnam. I worked for a construction outfit, and finally I did get into the mines. I got into Purse Glove 15, and one of their old portals that they had, and I worked there for, I forget exactly how many years, but I enjoyed it. And once this shut down, they called me to go to Osage Mine, which was another mine that was located in around this area. And I enjoyed it. It was, good living.
Yes, I agree.
And Bob, how about yourself?
Yeah, I started out working in Arkwright. Well, I started out working in Blacksville, the Federal 2 mines, but I didn't work there very long. They didn't operate too long, and then I left and went to Arkwright. So I worked at Arkwright basically my entire life until they shut down, and I left and went to Loveridge, and I worked at Loveridge a couple of years with my brother Davy there. But me and him worked at Arkwright too. We worked at Arkwright together. But my whole family was coal miners, and lifelong coal miners. And my brother Danny was a union organizer. My grandfather was a union organizer in the 20s. So that's all we ever knew was coal mining. I'm retired now, and I'm like Davy, I enjoyed every minute of it. I wouldn't want to do work anywhere else.
I've heard you say that when down here in Osage, when we get together on Saturday mornings, I've heard you say that your brother was a guard for Arnold Miller.
He was my brother Danny was personal bodyguard for the president of the United Mine Workers, who was Arnold Miller. And we got pictures of him in the back room there. And he was Arnold Miller's personal bodyguard for a long time.
I see. What were your responsibilities in the coal mines, each one of you? What kind of work did you do, Dave?
Well, when I first started out, of course, you start out and you're a red cap, and you gotta wear a red cap for about 6 months. Then after that, you get your miner's card, and they call you a black cap, and I was a buggy man, I was general labor, and I was working on a belt, and just different jobs. If you got more seniority, you could bid on jobs and stuff, and I was a roof bolter for about 10 years, and sometimes when you work at the face, they call it the face, that's where you mine coal and stuff, and my face, I come out of it, I was black as that box and stuff right there. But I enjoyed working on the section and stuff, but then eventually I got out of there, and I bid on a main line job and run a motor. That's when you haul coal. Me and my brother Bob both worked out on the main line, hauling coal and stuff like that. And then eventually we got to work outside, worked on the river and stuff. And there was different jobs and stuff and everything. But like I say, when you got more seniority, you got to bid on different jobs and stuff. And I enjoyed it. It was good money. It was
Yeah.
better money.
Didn't
than-
start out that way though, right?
Oh, no, it didn't start out that way. And I think, what did we make, bro? About $25 a day, something like that?
I don't know, when I started, we only made $3 and something an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's about what I made when I
Yeah,
started.
$3.27 an hour was the bottom rate.
Yeah.
'Cause I went from $1 an hour
Yeah,
working for a construction company outside, plugging wells.
yeah.
And at that time, what they were, the thing it was, these wells, while they're plugging, because the mines won't start mining that area, up towards Blacksville area, Pinterest. But then when I did get a chance to get in the coal mine, I went from about $1 an hour to $2 an hour as a beginner. I thought I was making good money at that
Yeah.
time. And found out my wife was pregnant, and then plus good health insurance that we had, it really worked out good.
I think I started out $2.35 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe a little bit less than that, because I think it was $15 and something a day.
It wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah, it wasn't a whole lot.
But then, it seemed like a whole lot.
Oh, yeah, I thought I was rich. Because I went from, like you, $1 and something an hour to a coal mine job, making $2 and something an hour, and I thought I was rich. I didn't know there was that much money to be made.
Well, like, starting as general inside, you was low man.
Yeah.
You know, then I bid up for as soon as I could, up to as a miner operator. Because they trained me on it, and it got a little bit increased wages there. And plus, if you mine so much coal, you know, sometimes the boss put down more for you, because he made him look good.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one thing about Consol too, they had a good health program and stuff, because anytime you, like your kids got sick or your wife got sick or anything like that, it was a good health plan and stuff. That's one good thing about Consol. It always had a good health plan and stuff.
They had a certain way they did things too, the coal operators. Tell us about, you know, like the company store.
Well, you heard about that song that Tennessee Ernie Ford sang, you owed your soul to the company store. Well, a lot of coal miners, they did owe their soul to the company store. I never bought nothing out of the company store. I bought my dinner bucket and my mining belt out of the company store, but I paid cash for it. I never messed with that company store.
Yeah.
Because I seen some guys I knew from the coal mines, they're passed away now. You guys probably know them, Bud Eisenhower and stuff, you guys. They showed me their net on their check when they got paid, 000, because, you know.
Company store took it off.
The company store took it off,
Yeah.
but later on in life, the company store wasn't allowed to do that to people, you know, but I stayed away from that company store.
When I started in the coal mines, there wasn't no red hat or anything. Whatever you was gonna do in the coal mines, you started out doing that. The first night I went in the coal mines, I bolted on a stoker machine. Didn't have the fancy continuous miners in. And I roof bolted with an old, you know what the old upside stoker machine was, that you
Yeah.
roof bolt with it. And that's what I bolted with, an old time roof bolter, run it by air compressor, and roof bolted with that thing right there.
Oh, my.
And
We still done that at 15 when I started, when some places you couldn't get a bolter machine into it, that's what you had to use.
used the old stoker machine, yeah.
Basically, it had a fall, you could get up on it, and sit your post and work your way in by bolting it up. Then they'd come in and clean it up, and then it could go on mining again.
Start another cycle, yeah.
Yeah.
Start another mining cycle. Yeah, but I'm like the rest of them. I wouldn't want to work anywhere else. We had really good benefits, good health insurance. We done a lot of striking. We had to strike a lot of times.
Oh, my.
I remember one time we struck for 7 months.
Oh, yeah.
One time we struck for 77 days, one time we struck for 11 days, but the 7th month strike was the longest one we ever had.
What were you striking about usually?
More benefits, the company wouldn't give you nothing.
Yeah,
They wouldn't give you nothing.
how
Only
you
thing-
get your raises and stuff.
Yeah, and the bosses used to cheer us on to strike because they wouldn't give them nothing. They made less than we did, and they would plead with us to strike.
Yeah,
Because if we'd get strike and get more benefits, they'd have to give them something.
Rudy Gallen, he was the walking boss, and he went out with us one time, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the walking boss, and we went on strike one night, and he went with us. I said, Rudy, you're gonna get fired. He said, I don't care. He said, I ain't getting nothing anyway. So he struck with us.
He was a good
And they
guy.
did, they took him off his job. He was the walking boss. They relieved him of his bossing job for 3 or 4 months, and then the main office called him from called the company from Pittsburgh. Said, give that man his job back. Said, that mines can't run no coal without him. But that was the man. The man, they wanted to support him.
He was better than some union men,
Yeah.
and he was a boss.
Yeah.
Rudy was
There
a
was a
good
lot of them
man.
like that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You'd like, some of you would like to work for it and other bosses,
Yeah.
no.
No.
When Rudy died, there were about 4 or 5 of us went to his funeral and stuff. We were talking about Rudy, how good a guy he was. Yeah.
What'd you carry in your lunch buckets?
Well, I took a couple sandwiches and a cake, a couple candy bars and stuff, and a fruit, maybe an apple and a banana, stuff like
I've
that.
heard people say that there was jokes played on some people.
Oh
with their
yeah,
lunch
a lot of
bucket.
people,
What
a
was
lot of people got into other people's buckets. We had another boss, Mike Cole. He used to get in people's lunch, and he weighed close to 250, 300 pounds.
Me and him was the #1 bucket robbers in Arkwright.
Yeah,
Whenever we'd come around, they'd hide everything. The men would. They tried to,
yeah.
Yeah.
but we'd get to them before they'd get to us.
They got
robbed
in.
them all.
Remember, they got into Darryl Greer's bucket one night and didn't eat his food. They smashed all of his cakes and his sandwiches and stuff. Darryl didn't like that too well, but Darryl was a good guy. I like Darryl.
Yeah.
What'd you like to eat?
Well, basically the same thing, a sandwich or two and a cake.
Coal mine steak,
Sometimes
bologna.
fruit. Yeah, bologna, a lot of bologna.
Yeah.
It was good.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it better fried, but you couldn't fry it in there.
Yeah, I did too. I liked it fried. Yeah. Yeah, I still like bologna today.
Oh yeah, me too. I had bologna sandwich the other day. But,
Well, when you guys had a lunch break, what was it like? What'd you do? You just
we had dinner holes and stuff, and we made a little bed where we could lay down for about 30, 35 minutes and
The
stuff.
company didn't want you to take dinner. You got paid for it, but they'd rather to just pay you extra and go ahead and work through dinner.
Yeah.
Or go back and take a 10-minute
10-minute
break.
break, yeah.
And then go
Unless-
right back to work.
Unless you was a mechanic,
Oh, yeah.
then you hardly ever got some time to eat.
Yeah.
You just ate when something was broke down, you had to go work on it, then you get back to the dinner hole, maybe get your bucket, and here comes the boss hollering again. Hey, this broke down. needs to
Always
be worked on."
something broke down.
There's always something broke down.
We had some bosses that was good bosses would give us 35, 40 minutes, and other bosses, like we had one boss, I hate to talk about him, but Bill Ponchoff, he went federal mine inspector. He'd be sitting there in the dinner hole after him and the mechanic would rock dust, and then he'd wait there, and we could hear his clock ticking. He'd give us 29 minutes and 59 seconds. He'd, let's go, boys, let's get it. But we mind cold for him a little bit. He was all right. He went federal mine inspector, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he was an Osage boy, so he was.
Yeah, we took care of him a little bit. He was all right. But his brother Jim, we liked Jim better than him though. He was a boss too. He went bossing too.
Well, specifically, what did you do most?
What I did?
Yeah.
I started out as just general inside, then I went to bolting on a machine, which was an upgrade in pay. Then the operator that ran the machine, he didn't work half the time, so I ran the machine. At that time, we had, it was after the ripper, we had what they called a Healy miner. It was a full-face miner.
I remember that.
Cut in and then dropped down to that, and I run that for years, and then plus run on rippers, cutting out overcasts and stuff. But then I've been on the mechanic job, and then I finished the rest of my career as a mechanic, which I enjoyed.
What's a mechanic job? I mean, to
Works
someone
on
like-
equipment.
If it's not broke down, if you had a good boss, you're sitting in a dinner hole waiting on something to break down. But if you had a boss that didn't like you, he'd make you go over and shove over here, throw a little rock, dust over here,
Carried supplies.
carry supplies.
Oh,
But then it came back to bite him though, at the end, because then when he had something broke down, oh, you gotta fix this, let's go. Well, okay,
Take your good old time.
take a good old time.
Yeah.
But if you had a boss that
Yeah.
took care of you while you wasn't broke down, you know, maybe he'd even come and help you do an odd job or something. And then you maybe carry some rock dust over so they could load it up later. It was all right.
Yeah, I
I
remember.
worked right when it broke down, I worked at it.
I remember we had Art Haney. He was the boss that worked in the shop and stuff. He was one of the smartest mechanics that we had and stuff. And our section was broke down one night for about 3 or 4 hours, and they called Art Haney up there, and he was just looking at this thing, and he could fix it in about 2 seconds. And this boss was looking over, new boss that come here from some other mines and stuff, and he was standing over Art Haney's shoulder, just looking at him like this. And Rudy Galler come up there after about 3 or 4 hours and said, "What's wrong, Art? How's come you ain't fixing this mine?" He said, "Well, you get this monkey off my back here and I'll fix it." And Rudy looked at that boss, he said, cussed him like a dog. And that guy finally walked down the heading, talking to himself, and Art Haney just turned one little screw with a screwdriver and fixed it. He said, "There, it's fixed now."
How about you, Bob?
I never will forget that.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of experience too with bosses and things breaking down and stuff. They gathered up a bunch of us one time and sent us to school. They sent us to WVU. I went to night classes for about 6 months or so because they couldn't get enough, when they passed them laws, to have certified mechanics and electricians. So they sent a bunch of us to night classes, WVU. I went to Western University for 6 or 8 months and took electrical school. And first one thing, then another, mine, machine, and hydraulics. I took so many schools every chance I could. But then, whenever I got done, they wanted me to work on the mechanic force, and I wouldn't do it. I said, "Whoa," they said, "Whoa, wait a minute, we just paid to send you to school. You're not gonna work with the mechanics this weekend?" I said, "Not a chance, I ain't getting greasy and dirty, I'm an equipment operator." And they said, "Well, what do you go to them schools for?" I said, "My benefit, not yours."
Bro had his electrician's card long before anyone.
Yeah, they sent a whole bunch of us to school.
You had it before you started in the mines, didn't you,
Yeah,
bro?
we went to, first school I ever started was before I started in the coal mines. I went to a school. I was signing up to main office to get a job, and they asked me, said, "Are you interested in getting hired in as a mechanic or anything?" I said, "I just want to get a job." And they said, "Well, we got a class starting this week. If you don't mind starting that class, and as soon as we got an opening, we'll hire you." But I went to schools, and they paid me to go for several months. I went and got all my electrical cards and all that stuff. But I went to school for it and stuff. I think you went to school too, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I went to school right out of high school.
Oh, okay.
I went to Pittsburgh. I worked with Allegheny. I forget the name of the. It was right across the river from the Allegheny General Hospital, because I worked there afternoon for them, and I went to school during the day as a electrician. Well, mainly it was fixing. Back then it was to fix radios, work on TV. But you got to fool with electricity and stuff, and then when I did get hired in the mines, they was having classes on electricians, you know, try to get them to get their cards, and I asked if I could go. Well, I ended up helping teaching the class.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
already know all the laws and everything, and you know, like how much, like electricity, I is equal to E over R and all that stuff.
Yeah,
You're
all them formulas.
all the formulas.
Yeah, I had learned all-
all them.
That was
I didn't
part of
have
the
to
school,
do
you had
that.
to learn them all.
And the day I ended up with my card right then.
Yeah.
Did you guys take your class with Benny Larry over to Chevrolet Garage?
Not sure.
No, I took with Benny Larry over at Dawes Run Portal.
Oh, okay.
Whenever they shut down, Benny Larry started giving classes over there. Did you
Yeah.
go with him? I did too.
Yeah.
I
Well,
went with Benny.
I started with Jim Ponchoff. Me and him took class over there for 5 days straight. And man, that Benny Larry, he was something, man. He thought he knew everything and stuff. He was our instructor and stuff for 5 days and 5 nights. And I started on a midnight shift, and I went to class for 5 hours before. Man, that was
And then have to go to work.
and then have to go to work. Boy, that was first tough week and stuff.
Well, when I worked midnight, I went to classes too. When I was midnight shift, I'd go to classes till 10 o'clock, and then I had to go to the mines, be there at midnight. Well, I never wanted to go straight to the mines. I stopped down to Roughtstone, drink half a dozen beers, and then go to work.
Oh, man.
Tell us about the safety things that you had to be aware of down in the mines.
Oh, I started out on midnight shift, and every night on Sunday night especially, we had a safety meeting with our boss. He went up and fire boss for a couple, maybe 5 minutes, checked the faces and everything. That's the face where you mine coal and stuff. Then he come back and then we had a safety meeting for about 5 or 10 minutes. They preached safety. Consol was safety conscious and stuff like that. We had safety meetings and everything, and we was all conscious of safety and everything. But they was worried about producing coal and stuff, of course, but they wanted you to produce coal and be safe.
They preached it in the dinner hole, but they didn't practice it.
A lot of them didn't practice it.
They didn't practice it. When you got out of the dinner hole, you forgot all that safety
Well,
meeting.
they wanted production, number one, but they didn't want no one to get hurt, of course, you know.
Yeah.
But it was on everybody's mind. No one got hurt and stuff.
Seen a lot of times I've seen people that could have got hurt bad and didn't. It
Yeah.
didn't end up. I was on midnight and was using the ripper. I was on the ripper section. I was bolted on the operator side because I could operate it too. My stepdad was the operator at that time.
Oh, yeah?
And on the other side was a Jones boy from Osage, was bolted on the opposite the operator side. And I can remember that. You know, they had the two motors on them
Yes,
to run the head.
yeah.
Well, the flywheel came off on his side, and if it wasn't for the jack that he had set to bolt, he wouldn't have been here today.
Oh,
Because it hit that jack and knocked it right, tilted it like that, broke the bolts on the bottom of the pin where it bolted down, the base. Yeah.
yeah, I worked with a couple guys, and they got killed there where I was working at. They got killed about 4 o'clock in the morning. No, they got killed about 1 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it, Davy?
Yeah.
And they
Out there on
called,
the main line?
yeah, and they
Oh,
called
yeah,
me
yeah.
out about 4 o'clock, said, Bob, can you come out here right away? So we
Yeah.
got 2 men covered up, got 3 men covered up. Said, can you come to the mines right quick? So I hurried up and dressed, because I only lived 10 minutes from the mines. I hurried up and went out there and got around there, and they got the one out, the Lynch boy, and then the Morgan boy and the White boy, David White, and that Morgan boy was only 18 years old. He got killed, and then David White, he got killed. They both got killed. I dug them in, Rhoda boy dug them out.
Is that where Tamago was in too?
Tamago was covered up there
Tamago,
too, but
he was the-
he wasn't very bad.
Was it a roof fall?
Yeah, roof fall.
Yeah.
And they got covered up, and me and Jimmy Rodeheaver got the 2 guys that was dead out. We dug them out, and we hauled them out of the coal mines.
When they trying to bring some rock down and.
There was a big rock rolled out on the side, and the empties couldn't get by it. You know, on the main line, Greg? And a big rock rolled out there, and the empties couldn't get in, so the fire boss come out, and he come back and told the boss.
Rudy Pontroff.
Yeah, he said, you can't get no empties in there, somebody's gonna have to get down there and bust that rock. And that was the guys I went out and went in and dug out.
And they tried to bust it up with the tool car right in front of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had the tool car, they couldn't run the direction they should have ran. They had to run where the fall was falling in, and they got killed
Yeah.
because they couldn't get away. And 2 of them got killed, and 1 of them got mashed up, and
Trying-
2 of them got mashed up.
Trying to do it in a hurry and they had to, it was just a bad
Yeah,
deal.
just, actually, they committed suicide.
Yeah.
Just,
You don't do anything in a hurry in the coal mines, do you?
No.
I mean, they want you
well,
to.
you're not supposed to, but.
They want you to, but.
You need to think about what you want to do
Yeah.
and what could happen to
Yeah,
you or whoever with you.
You should always think about your buddy and yourself before you try to do anything, you know?
Yeah.
You're supposed
You
to
know.
look at the area first and check things out and look,
You
just don't jump
know,
into it.
what years did you guys start?
I started in '71 and Bro started in '69.
Yeah, I started in '71.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
started in May 7th, '71.
Yeah, I first started in '66 at Federal 2. And then as soon as I worked there a little bit, I seen that was a dangerous place. Of course, my cousin was the superintendent there, Eddie Huggins, and then Sammy Beard was the mine foreman. So as soon as I went up there, I got a job, because they related to me, and I got a job, and I worked there just a little bit, and I said, this place is a death trap.
And they was striking all the time too, wasn't they?
Yeah, and they was, and,
Yeah, they was known for going on strikes.
yeah, so I left there and got back to.
What was a good mine that you worked at? What was a mine that, one of the best mines around? What was?
Arkwright.
Arkwright?
Arkwright's probably the best all-around mine.
They had
the
good
best
working men.
people.
Well, I never worked there, but I heard a lot about it. I heard my wife's dad worked there and her
I
brothers.
worked with her dad and her uncle and her cousins, and her brother. I worked at Arkwright with all of them. Yep, that was a good mine.
And,
Yep. Her dad and and
Jimmy Haas, all that.
Leroy and Jimmy and
What makes a good mine and what makes a bad mine?
Good working people, not
people that
lazy
does their
people.
job right
Yeah,
and does it
that's the biggest
correctly.
thing.
Not lazy people.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupidity and laziness is the biggest fault in the coal
Yeah,
mine.
that's right.
Yeah.
If you're stupid and lazy,
Now,
somebody gonna get hurt.
They were stupid and lazy,
Okay.
and there was one person, you guys know, he came here from Osage, and he was lucky, he never really got killed in the mines. He finally passed away. It was Richard Fuller.
Yeah,
yeah.
Richard Fuller, we knowed him,
You
yeah.
know Richard Fuller. His dad worked at the mines.
Yeah, old man
He was,
Fuller.
he was a trackman, and he
Yeah.
carried his own track hammer,
Yeah,
but he fall asleep a lot and everything. He just easy going. And one time we was mining and on a ripping section and dumping it, and the load machine was loading him up. He was a buggy man, and he went all the way to the dump on 3 wheels. He didn't even know he lost.
Didn't know he lost a wheel.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
took the thing all the way, and then he went up on the ramp, and that's when he got hung up and couldn't go nowhere.
yeah,
He
had a
had
wheel missing.
He had 3 wheels on that buggy.
The old man or Fuller?
No,
No,
Fuller.
Fuller.
Fuller,
Richard-
is that right?
Not the old man was a trackman.
Oh, he was tracking it, oh,
He,
okay.
he was
my.
a trackman. Carried, like I said, he carried his own hammer.
Richard only worked about half time, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't a very good worker.
Yeah, I think someone told me one day, said they asked him how come he only worked 2 days a week. He said, I can't get by on one.
Yeah, that's Richard. That was Richard.
Lord.
But I liked him.
Yeah, oh, yeah, he was a likable
A
boy.
likable boy.
Yeah, he lived on the street here on Osage. We knowed him since the time he was born.
Yeah,
I remember his mom and dad lived up in that hollow out
Yeah,
there.
we knowed his mother and dad.
that's like a lot of the guys at 15 from down here. I don't know if you know J.C. Allen.
Oh,
of
we know
course,
J.C.
knew Buddy.
well, yeah.
Didn't they with Buddy Allen, yeah.
Yeah,
J.C.
Buddy Allen.
He
He lived right
worked,
up on the hill here.
he was rock duster.
Yeah.
Him and Mose Jones.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
Mose
we
Jones
knew
too.
them all. Yeah.
And
He had the right name for himself, Mose.
they
Moses.
was rock dusting together.
Uh,
And I forget, they was back in the return, dusting, intake, return, dusting. They was going the wrong way, it was blowing back on them.
Oh, my.
So, I don't know which one of them went up and turned the pressure up and thought he was turned it off, and turned the pressure up and blew the hose out. And out here came, Mose, Mose, and not trying to, being, he was a black person, you know that.
Oh, of course.
When he come out, he was white as that square
Oh,
right there. The
Lord.
only thing you could see was his eyeballs.
Oh, my.
And he come out, and I never heard so much language in all my life.
Charlie was your cousin, wasn't he? Yeah, Charlie, her cousin, he was in the coal mines with 2 guys, Jess Hess and I forget what the other guy's name was. I know them all. And they died in the coal mines because there was a fire in the coal mines. And Charlie, her brother, her cousin, he decided, he told me, he said, I'm going out, Bob. This was after the fact. And he told me, I said, how in the heck did you get out, Charlie? He said, I laid down between the track, and he said, I crawled all the way out, and there was enough air coming up with my nose down in the track. I had enough air, I survived. The other 2 guys, old Jess Hess, and what was the other guy's name? I can't remember his name, Dave. He died.
I can't remember.
They sat there. They wouldn't leave. They said, it'll be all right in a little while. And they sat there and smothered to death. They didn't burn up, but smoke killed them. And,
There was Osage mine right down the road here. That's
The
a
Osage
miner's
Porter
co-
was right over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
Osage
there's-
mines are still on fire if you look at Star City Bridge here.
Yeah,
There's steam comes out of there. every now
Sometimes
and
it
then.
does, yeah.
That mine's been on fire since the 50s. Arkwright too. Arkwright's been on fire since the 50s. They just sealed it off and left it burn. You could go over there if you could get close enough to them stoppings whenever the air was right. You could feel them stoppings. They'd be warmer than normal than they should be.
Yeah.
Because fire was in behind them. And they just kept it sealed off, trying to keep it smothered out. As far as I know, it's still burning when they shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was burning.
I
when they
remember seeing that hillside there.
That was Osage mines there.
Yeah.
That wasn't Arkwright.
Now, is that underneath the University Town Center area? Is
Yeah,
it-
it's back underneath
And it's
there.
on fire, some of it.
Yeah. Well, they've lost it. They didn't lose it, but they've had a bulldozer sink in. They had to get cranes to get it back up out of there where the mines collapsed. And they was doing backfilling around there with a dozer. And they lost the dozer, but they got it back out where it
Oh.
sunk.
I've heard that when they closed down some of the mines, they just left the equipment in there.
Millions of dollars, it was more,
Yes, a lot of it left in there.
more profitable to leave it than to recover it. Cause they claim it as a loss.
Arkwright left a whole, long wall, brand new long wall in there, didn't they, when the last time they shut it
I
down?
don't know,
They claimed it on insurance, they said.
yeah.
So they said they don't lose nothing.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah?
Well, I was working on the long wall at Osage as a mechanic, and they did recover most of the shields in that. There was some they lost on the tail that they couldn't get to, it already started, and they had to come back about 5 or 6 shields and start taking them out as they went. Then down it came, that was the end of the shields that was left.
But before they passed them laws in the coal mines though, in the late '60s, coal mines was a terrible place.
Yeah.
You didn't have no blowers to get the dust out of the coal mine, you just had old bradish cloth to get air up on the face with you. It was so dusty up on the face, you could be standing right beside your buddy and his cap light, well, you know what these cap lights look like. His light looked like a little old pin light, because it was so dusty you couldn't even see him. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah, when I first started in the mines as a roof bolter on a section, we hung bradish cloth.
Yeah,
And that was the way we got the air to the face.
yeah,
And then they come in and they started getting these blowers, and then everything changed. It was nice then with the
yeah.
blowers.
Yeah, because on them bradish cloths, if you was pillaring and you went up over in a barrier, took that long lift, you know how you go clear up in there? You had that line curtain go, what, 200 feet?
But yeah,
200 feet, you can't get no air up on the face 200 feet away with a cloth, with a curtain.
because the fan's pulling it from the outside.
That's right.
But it's not,
Yeah, it's pulling it from outside the curtain up around the face. It's supposed to go on the outside of the curtain and come around to the inside close to the wall and pull the air off.
yeah.
It just didn't work. It's a bad situation, but then when they changed them laws and they got them blowers in the coal mines, it was a lot better.
People had to get killed for the companies to start investing more safety, more ways, better ways of doing things. How did the long wall change things? When did the long wall come in?
Went from 800 men to a coal mines to 125.
Laid off a lot of people, cost
And
a
you
lot of
loaded,
jobs.
when we had 800 and some men working at our mines, Arkwright always led the sheet. We was loading about 25 ton per man. And there we had 800 and some men working there at the time. When they got that long wall, we went down to like 125 or something, wasn't it, Greg, or
Something
something?
I don't know exactly how.
And they was
it
loading probably 1,000 ton per man. So you could see the difference.
Yeah.
Our Collins, our superintendent, he kept holding out and holding out. Arkwright was the last one that got the long wall.
Yeah, we was the last one got the long wall.
But he finally had to give in and stuff.
Well, they brought the long wall in at Purse Club. I got sucked into that for a while as a mechanic. And then when it closed down, I went to Osage, and that's exactly where I went. They took me right on the long wall.
Who got the long wall first, Osage or 15?
I don't know,
I
15
don't
had
remember.
one, and
We was the last one, Arkwright got it.
Osage was a completely different shield. It was a lot nicer to work with.
Mhm.
And it had, I don't know if you remember how they had directional handles on them.
Yeah.
What you want the machine to do. Now, the last ones we had up at Blacksville 2, where I worked, I was a longbow mechanic, and it was mostly electronic. You didn't have to be much of a hydraulic man.
Well, they moved themselves and everything, didn't they?
Yeah, and you had to change, they had a box on it, and had the button they pushed to pull the shields. And they could batch them, like they could pull, you had 15 shields back behind you when you pulled, you could put that in that shields box and push a button, and they'd automatically start coming your way.
See, I never ran none of them because I was out on the main line hauling the coal then.
Yeah.
I hauled a lot of them shields in the coal mines.
Yeah.
Because, man, they were monsters when they got them last new ones in. I mean, they were big. Big. I hauled a lot of them into the coal mines, but I never operated on any of them.
The ones at Blacksville 2 that I worked at when I finished up as a mechanic on the longwall, it wasn't that you had to be mechanically inclined, you had to be electrically inclined. Because everything was run by a computer on each one of them, and plus you run it from the head gate to yourself. But after you put the program in, the shieldman, the only thing he had to do was watch, make sure it all pulled up, and he just kept walking behind the shears of mine, and the shields just kept pulling themselves. They didn't have to, nobody had to be in the dust at all.
When they first started mechanics in the coal mines, though, nobody had electrical cars.
No.
Nobody. They would just come around and ask you if you wanted a mechanic job. And if you was generally a miner operator, they'd give you a mechanic job after a while, or work with the mechanics on the weekend, and you could get a mechanic job. But then after they passed that law, everybody had to have an electrical card, everybody had to have a hydraulic card. I got a stack of cards at the house, you probably do too, this thick,
Yeah.
if you carried all them cards around.
Well, I had an upper hand on that on the electric, because I went to school in Vicksburg out of high school.
Yeah,
I went there for 18 months,
Yeah.
and then when I got hired there, and then they come on 15, they said they wanted, everybody had to have electrical card that was a mechanic.
yeah,
Well, I helped the teacher teach the class,
oh
because I
yeah,
already knew it.
you already
I already
know.
went 18 months to it at Vicksburg at the school.
Did Tony Buckaloo and them guys get a card?
They got a card, but they got grandfathered in. None
Yeah,
of
they
them
didn't get no
Yeah.
pass the test, did
None
they?
of them went to school. I tell you, the only two guys that went to school was Ted Epling and,
Oh, yeah, Ted Epling was smart.
Ted Epling and, Art Haney.
Art Haney.
And they, Ted Epling never needed to go to school. He was already pretty smart, and so was Art Haney.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So they was pretty smart, but they went ahead and went to school and got their cards and stuff. I tried to keep my card up, but they didn't like for me to do it because I wouldn't take no mechanic job.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to pay for me to keep my card up. I told them I'd pay for my own. And then old George Chisler and them, they said, we'll take care of you, we'll get your card for you. So I kept mine just because a couple people liked me.
Well, them Corley boys was smart too, wasn't they?
Yeah.
Jerry and Robert and all them.
Yeah,
Robert was the maintenance boss, wasn't he?
yeah. Well, they
At
was,
Osage.
Jerry was
Remember
in,
him, Robert Corley?
Yeah.
yeah, Jerry was in that Jeep that night, that motor went in a switch and killed Bill Logan.
Oh, yeah, I know. That
It
was,
was too lazy to go out there and throw the switch.
that was their fault. That was their fault. There was 6 or 8 men in there. I remember all of them. I can't think of their names now. They were sitting there talking about women and sports and everything else. I know how co-miners are. And they let that motor come in there and kill that guy. Killed Bill Logan.
Well,
But
you
guess
know
what? That was his last shift.
It was his last shift. He
And it was his
quitting
last
that
day on earth too. He got killed.
You know, them guys sat in that Jeep, and that motor was coming uphill. That motorman should have been able to stop. He might have been sleeping or something.
Well, they said it was coming around the curve, and he didn't
Yeah.
see the switch until he was right on it. I heard that. Of course, I don't know.
No, I don't know
It was
either.
Osage Mine. They said I heard.
Man, how
heard
many
him-
times when I've run on flat road and I've come out and find switches against me,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
you know?
But they said that motorman told his buddy, he said, hold up, buddy, hold up, buddy. How you gonna hold up 34, 35 cars of coal?
Yeah, I come out of the mines one time through the old hill. That's after you come out between the hills, and I was going to the tipple. And when I come into the old hill, it was used to hauling 39 loads. And I had a short trip. They got me a short trip, and I come out, I only had 29 loads, and I come around that curve right there, and Charlie McCroby had gotten a switch ahead of me, and a crossover switch where you could go through the Osage mines.
Yeah.
I come around that curve and there the switch was open against me. And Harry
wow.
Wilson was my buddy. And I hollered at him. I said, hold him, Harry, hold him. There's a switch against me. And I had a boss who wanted to catch a ride out to coal mines. Jimmy Dancer was his name.
Yeah.
He wanted to get a ride out with me, and they didn't know he was leaving. So he told me, he said, pick me up, Bob, and give me a ride out of the coal mines. Well, I didn't like him too well anyway, but I did. I picked him up, and when I broke around that curve and seen that switch was against me, he seen that switch, and he tried to. The 50 tons, you know, them old 50 tons, they got no room in them for another person. But he was all hunched down in there like that. And when I hit that Osage equipment, arc rate equipment was parked in there, I hit that stuff and knocked it over through on the Osage side, because you could go over in the Osage through our crossover. When I hit that right there, it jammed him up. That was the last day he ever worked. He never could come by. He got a blood clot in the back of his leg. He eventually died from it. It was about 7 or 8 months he lived.
Who was on the track crew to leave the switch like that?
Charlie McCroby.
Charlie McCroby. Oh, man.
Yeah. And you know he retired that day?
He did?
He retired the next morning. He come to work and he was sitting on the bench. And I said, Charlie, you better get dressed. It's about time for us to go, buddy. He sat there a little bit. And I said, come on, Charlie, let's go. We gotta get dressed. I was already dressed and ready to go. He kept sitting there and he says, you know what, Bob? I could have killed that guy. He said, I don't think I'm going to work today. I said, Charlie, don't worry about that. Everybody leaves the switch once in a while.
Yeah.
He said, I ain't going to work. He didn't work and he never come back.
Is that right?
Quit that day.
How old was he?
He was 61 or 62. I think he was 62 because he was old enough to retire, get his social security.
Be doggone.
He said, he said, I'm done. He said, I could've killed that guy.
Dave, tell me about you, I've heard you talk about Rat Pride, how he hired you.
Oh, yeah, Rap Pride, he was the superintendent that morning I got hired. Road talked for me, of course, and stuff and everything, and he didn't curse me out, but he was cursing that morning. He said, boy, what you doing here bothering me all the time? I said, I want a job, Rat. He said, you get a job somewhere else, don't you? I said, yeah, I work at Stone and Fawcett on an afternoon shift. And he started writing on a slip of here. He said, if you pass your test, go out on the mile ground, Doc Warmer, is that who it was? He said, if you pass your test, come on back, I'll give you a job, boy.
Yeah, I was working midnight shift then.
Yeah.
And I told Davey, I said, he went out and got a slip to go take his physical. And he said, because I went up and seen Rat, and I told Rat, I said, you gonna hire my damn brother? Yeah, I'll hire him. I'm gonna give him a slip. He said, I ain't got time to fool with him today. And he said, well, you come back and see me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So me and Davey, well, first he asked me, he said, what the hell are you doing here? You should be home in bed. You got to work tonight. I said, I'll come up here and make sure you give my brother a job. He said, I'll give him a damn job. I said, well, give him a damn slip. So he gave him a slip. And we left, and Davey went out and took the physical and come back home. Was that the next day?
It's the same day, I think.
Maybe same day, and
Yeah.
Davey come back and got me. He said, bro, he said, I got my slip to go to work. He said, you gonna go up the mines with me? I said, yeah, I guess I could. So I went up there and Rat hollered at again. He started cussing. What are you doing here? You gotta work tonight. I told you about that. I said, I'll make damn sure you put him on the right shift.
Yeah.
What shift do you want him on? I hired him. I said, put him on midnight so we can ride together. He said, get the hell out of here and come out with your brother tonight on that.
Yeah. He kept cussing me out and hollering at me.
Yeah.
That was after he lost Duke, wasn't it, or before? That's after he
No,
lost
that's before he lost, dude.
Some of those, the older superintendents when I worked with, they get cranky sometimes.
Oh, he
Man,
poor
yeah.
Rat was.
Then as it went on, and then before I retired, had get these young superintendents and stuff, and most of them was pretty good.
Yeah.
There was a few that wasn't,
Well,
yelled a lot.
Rat never was no good after his son Duke died.
Oh, man.
After Duke died, he was
Yeah.
a mess.
Was he Joe Pride's uncle, or?
Yeah, he was Joe's uncle,
Who was
Joe and
Joe?
Roy's uncle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, them Prides, they had a lot of bad
Bill
luck.
Pride, he was their uncle.
Yeah, I remember Bill Pride. He was a piece of work too. But Roy Pride lost his daughter, didn't he?
17 years old, about
Oh,
a mile and a half from home. When
Oh, Lord.
he got transferred up there to Moundsville.
Yeah.
She was on her way home. She was 17 years old, and she was coming home from school or something, and about a mile and a half from his house,
Oh,
a
he does.
car hit her and crossed the road and killed her instantly. Roy was a sad
Well, what
case.
was it like, you know, out of the mine and coming down into Osage? I mean, did everybody come down into Osage at the?
Certain ones of us did. A lot of us lived around here. When I'd leave midnight shift, I always come straight to Osage and stopped at Eggway's bar over here. And I'd stop in the bar there, and sometimes I'd drink a cup of coffee, and then I'd drink a few beers, and then I'd go home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, on Fridays morning or Saturday mornings, we'd beat Butch Weber. He was one of my drinking buddies. We'd stop up Dallas sometimes and stuff. Not all the time, but, once a year or something like that, we'd get on a drunk. Not a big drunk, just drink a few beers. That's when Dutch had the bar.
But there was a lot of things going on down in Osage still back in the
Oh, sure.
1960s.
Oh, there's 20-some beer gardens in Osage.
Had Eggways, had
2 movie theaters.
Steve Morris's. Well, not Martha.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Martha Taylor.
Not Martha Taylor. Dutch's wife. Mom.
Huh?
Dutch's mom. What's her name?
Oh, Thelma.
Thelma Morris. Yeah.
Yeah, she ran the
She
bar.
ran her for years.
Yeah.
Then Steve took over after she died. Oh man,
Well, the coal miners took care of their wages for that. I mean, they made good money
Yeah.
Oh,
from coal
man.
miners, because especially when they came home at quitting time, if they could be open later than what they supposed to, they was building opened.
Oh, yeah.
There was some dance halls down here, and
Oh, yeah. There was
there was
several.
a lot going on, movie theaters.
Yeah, there was Club 7, there was the Spinning Wheel, there was the Silver Dollar, there was the White Donkey, there were so many beer gardens. The Good Jumaran, there were so many beer gardens and stuff down here at that time.
When did the train stop coming through the middle of town?
They were still coming through here in the 60s,
Yeah.
in the mid-60s, and late sixties, I think they started coming down through here then, because
Yeah.
they started loading on the river then. Early seventies, when they started loading on the river. Williams had the,
We have
belt line
the overland belt that went to Humphrey.
Yeah.
And they dumped right on cars,
Yeah.
right there, and I still think they dumped on the river too, didn't they?
yeah, there's nothing
They
on
had
both places.
both places. But the overland belt that went across, I used to, the guy that, mechanic that had it, his job, he missed a lot of work. He liked his boggles.
Wasn't Shahan with it, or,
Shahan was there, he run the tipple.
yeah,
And work come up out, he took care of that, but you had to have a mechanic take the company truck, and you'd have to run the belt, and you clean up the head houses. They had different places, different ones, and the guy that, I was on day shift, the guy that did it, he missed a lot of work. So as soon as they missed work, that's where I went. That was nice for me. I didn't have to go in the mines or nothing. The company furnished a truck. Wintertime, it was no good job.
Oh,
You had to
yeah.
have canes on all four wheels,
yeah.
a prayer in your back pocket, you
Oh,
went over
yeah.
that hill.
Yeah, whenever that belt line was going across there, was I working already at Arkwright then? I think I was. But anyway, I was working midnight. But in the daytime, there was a beer garden out on Point Marion Road called Mull's Kitchen. I used to go out there and drink beer all the time, and she burnt coal all the time. She said, "Can you get me coal orders?" I said, "Yeah, I can get you coal orders. They're about $5. Yeah, because they're $4.94 a ton." I said, "I can get you coal orders." And she said, "Well, can you get me some coal, and I'll pay you for them and give you a case of beer." Well, I'd go over to between the hills on the belt line there. I put a post across there, and
You're the one I might like to beat with a shovel.
Yeah, and I'd back
I had
that-
to clean it up.
I'd back that truck underneath there,
Oh,
Greg,
man.
put that post across there, and that coal just run off.
Yeah, they'd sit that, like the belch line hits, they'd turn it like this, and they'd park the vehicle right here.
Oh,
And fill up the truck.
Fill up the truck, then they couldn't get the board out quick enough.
I left that board there 3 or 4 times. I couldn't get the damn thing out. It gets stuck because it'd be too much
Take
coal.
you outside right now.
Maybe you need to, Greg. I couldn't get the damn post out, and I'd say, hell with it. I just leave.
Because that's right there. You
Coal be
pull off,
running
you pull
off on the ground.
off the main road right there. You
Yeah.
pull off there and pull it on. And I've came across the hill, see them, they see me coming down. Some of them
That's probably me.
didn't even pull the board out. They
Oh,
just took
yeah,
off.
I got it stuck a few times. I know one
We had a
time.
pile of coal about this high in no
Oh,
time.
yeah. I know one time I was I was down there and had the board across there, and I guess someone must have seen me and called security people on me. That guy was driving down in there, and I seen him coming, so I hurried up and started up out of there, but I couldn't get up out of there. He was sitting in the middle of the road, and I jumped out of my truck, and I said, "You better get this truck out of my road, buddy." He said, "I come over here I'm gonna call people on you." He said, you're messing that belt up, stealing coal off of us." I said, "Well, time you get somebody here that knows something, you better call an ambulance." "What do you mean call an ambulance?" I said, "Because the time I get done with you, you're gonna need an ambulance." So he told me, he said, "Go on out of here and don't come back." Hell, I went back every chance I got. I sell a load of coal, about 3 tons to Mull's Kitchen. She give me $15 a ton and a case of beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came across her one time and went down to there's a head house right below that.
Yeah.
Below the road.
Yeah.
I'm down there doing all my electrical checks, make sure, permissibility for it.
Yeah.
And when I came back and I was parked below, you couldn't see the truck from the road.
Oh, yeah.
When I came out and got in the truck to start up around, this guy was up there getting his truck loaded. He had his loaded, he seen me, he just ran and jumped in the truck and took off and left the board.
Oh, my goodness.
And it piled up, I mean, like you wouldn't believe
Yeah.
in no time.
I left the board there a couple times because I couldn't get it out. You know, you had to wait for coal to slow down sometime to get that board back out
Yeah,
of
'cause
there.
that cold pushing against us,
Oh,
right pulled out of there.
yeah, pushing against you, you can't get the,
Who cleaned it up, Greg?
Greg?
Oh, my goodness.
I know who's caused a lot of that.
Yeah.
Not pointing at nobody.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I sold a lot of that coal. Well, not a lot of it, but every now and then, whenever I need some money and a case of beer, I'd just go out to old Mull's Kitchen and,
Yeah.
I'd give her
Well,
3.
when the train used to come down through town, a lot of people I've heard down here say they used to catch the train up there maybe at Cassville and ride it
We used
down.
to,
and
we used
hop
to,
up.
yeah, we used to catch the train and ride it back and forth to the shack right here in Osage. When the train would go up through, we catch one going up through and jump off at the shack.
Would the
coming
train
back
go
in.
that slow that you could just,
He slowed down coming through Osage here.
oh,
He
yeah?
slowed down a bit. We catch up there, but we used to go down in the railroad yard at Maysville, Humphrey Tipple. Did you ever work down Humphrey, Greg?
I've been down there quite a few
We
times.
used to go down there, and you could knock the pins out of the bottom of the car, and the gates dropped down, and we could shovel all that coal up, all the coal we'd want. And then when the cars pull away, man, they'd scatter coal for a mile up the
Oh,
track. So
yeah.
we do that all the time, we knock the bottoms out of them cars.
Oh, man,
We done all kind of things at the coal mines, but
yeah.
Yeah, I worked at 15, I'd fill in on that, over the overland belt, and part of my job was to take care of the tipple right there where the coal come out of the ground,
Okay.
transferred over the belt to go across.
yeah,
There's a big magnet they had in there,
oh yeah.
and if you didn't know it, and some people did, walked up to the magnet to look at it and had their watches on.
Zap.
It
Oh, my
broke the
goodness.
band right off. That thing was bigger than this table around, and it was about that thick, and it's an electrical magnet.
Oh yeah,
And
well,
when you went
our
up there was a switch.
Yeah,
Turn that
that's
off
what
the
I'm
first
saying.
thing. If you go, and first, then before you just energized it, a lot of times, you had to slide it out, because when you opened that, took the power off,
it'd fall in, yeah, it'd lose it.
pieces of rails,
Yeah.
coal mine cars and stuff, and all kinds of
Fall in the
stuff
belt.
would fall down, and when we'd put the magnet back over and turn it back on, they keep running coal. But all that, they just shoved it off the side, and it went down there, and they picked it up, number 8 shop come down and picked up all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we used to haul coal from Chaplin Mines, and I didn't haul it, I was just a kid then. But Chaplin Mines, they loaded in, they loaded in coal trucks. They had just a ramp that went up there when they closed the main tipple down up the hollow here for Chaplin. And they just loaded it into coal trucks and hauled up to 15 up above number 8 there, right here above the shop, and had a place they could dump it and process it over the tipple, and they would go over the belt line to Humphrey. Yeah, so we used to do that, and we used to go up there and we'd get them truck drivers, we'd know them, and we as kids, and we wanted to get them to haul us some coal to the house or something like that. I'd tell them, I'd say, man, take up that load, half of it up to our house and dump it. He said, no problem. They'd drive up and dump half a load of coal or whatever you wanted.
Oh, there was a lot of things like that went along.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
early years, the minings, until things changed years later. You had to watch what you done,
Oh, yeah, you get fired.
get fired in a heartbeat.
Yeah, whenever they started that firing business, you had to kind of watch what you was doing then. Yeah.
I thought Richard Fuller was gonna get fired one time. If it wasn't for his dad, he would've. Because his dad was a heck of a trackman.
Uh-huh.
He carried his own track hammer.
Uh-huh.
He would do spiking, and he was good. He was fast.
You
Yeah.
guys are veterans, I know you two are.
Yeah.
You're all three veterans,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, we used to be in the coal mines, like I was running, the last several years, I run flat road until I went out on a tipple. I ran flat road motor, and if you had a good run, and we used to try to kill ourselves to get 15 trips. And if you got 15 trips, they'd give you a bonus. They'd give the motorman all a bonus and stuff. They used to they'd give the relay guys a half gallon of whiskey and send it in the mines, and they'd say, make sure you get this to Bob. Don't let nobody else have that half gallon of whiskey. And they'd send me in a half gallon of whiskey, and whoever would bring it in, they'd say, now, Terry or whoever the super, then Art Collins, they'd say, now don't drink after you get outside. I wouldn't move that motor, and I'd have that half gallon of whiskey open, and I'd be, other motor may be pouring up beside me because they knew what I had. I'd be pouring them out drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I carried many and many a half gallons of whiskey through the coal
And I
mine.
seen guys smoking inside the mines. I seen Moss smoking down number 2 sidetrack.
Yeah, remember Rudy hid in the mines to catch him.
Oh my, yeah.
Rudy hid in the side
He
track.
seen him smoking.
Yeah, Rudy hid in the side
He was gonna
track.
fire him.
Yeah, you know, there was things you could do that wasn't gonna really hurt somebody, but somebody in there with matches and stuff and smoking, that was no good. You never knowed when
Yeah.
you got to place a pocket of gas. or
Yeah, you know on the main line, you could have a pocket of gas anytime, because the old work's coming out on that main
Oh
line.
my, yeah.
It bleed off on the main line.
I wanted to ask you guys, it didn't make sense to me back in the old days. You had a light on your helmet
Flame
that was
safety light.
fire.
Yeah, flame safety.
Well, how could,
Yeah.
No, we didn't have them, we didn't have
We
them.
didn't-
We just had a regular light.
But back in the old days, they
Yeah.
used to have them.
Yeah, back in the old
How could they
hand-loaded
do
mine.
that with,
Well, they checked, that's what they used to check for gas with that light.
oh,
Yeah, if you know, you could gas check it with just a little tip or a walking flame, and you could check and see
Did
them.
it illuminate, get?
Yeah, and when you see that start elongating, the flame getting bigger, you know you're in
Out
gas.
there, you
Oh.
couldn't even see probably 5 feet in front of you.
Uh,
With that light we use, we could see a good ways with it.
oh, okay.
Yeah, you used them for not only to see, but you used them to check for oxygen deficiency, because if oxygen got too low, your light would go out. If it started elongating, you was in gas.
Oh, that's how that worked.
Yeah, yeah,
Always wondered about that.
yeah.
Probably some mines might have got blown up because of those kind of lights,
I
no?
imagine at one
I'm
time.
sure they did, yeah.
Things sure have changed a lot, haven't they?
Yeah,
What do you think about the way things are with the coal industry now? I mean, it seems like West Virginia's still making money from the coal mines, shipping it overseas and stuff.
China's our biggest customer.
There's down at Grafton, down in there, they got that mines down there, and they got trains, my son-in-law works for them, and they got trains almost every day.
Yeah, they're still shipping coal to Fort Martin, Hatfield, and Harrison. Because I hear the train whistle all the time. Sometimes 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
There'll always be a need for coal.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they'll
Well,
get.
where does the coal that I see going along past Westover, out through Granville, where's that coal going to?
Fort
Some
Martin,
some goes to
Fort
Fort Martin,
Martin.
some goes to Pittsburgh.
some of it goes to Harrison.
Yeah, it goes to different places. It goes to
Someone told
Waynesburg.
me they shipped some of
Marion.
it up out of state and then take it down the Ohio River and
They do.
all the way.
Yep. And they got the Ohio and Mississippi and Allegheny in there.
And West Virginia's making just as much money as they did in the boom times.
Oh, yeah, they
Yeah, there's
do.
still a lot of
You
money.
know,
Leverage mines a lot of coal, and I don't know if, what's that other mine?
Blacksville too, are they running? Or
No,
they dead?
it's down.
Oh,
They
shut
took
What
down.
about
they
that
tore
other
it
mine
down.
up in Marion County? Not Leverage, that other one.
how many mines
Marion
are
County?
there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are there any mines
No.
operating in Mon County?
No.
Not that I know.
No mines at all. Isn't that something?
Yes, they're mining, their typical stuff is in Marion County, but where they're mining at now is black into black, northern part of, like around, Wagetown back in there. There's coal back in there, they're still mining back in there. There's none of it comes out there.
Is Leverage mine still operating?
Yeah,
Okay. I know, I thought I would.
yeah, we can hear trains leaving from Fairview up there from our house up on the ridge. Every once in a while, you can hear them blow their whistle, and you can hear it rattling if they're putting empties in.
Do you guys have anything else that you'd want us, to talk about in the coal industry and back in the days when you were working?
Well, not the coal industry, but Ron Justice is gonna revitalize Osage.
Is that right?
Yep, he's planning on it.
Okay, good.
He's got all them buildings leased, and he's gonna put something in all of them.
Oh, well, that's good.
He's gonna revitalize Osage, he
Yeah.
says.
That'd be nice.
Got new bridge.
Well, we got
being
them
built?
new bridges supposed to be coming in down there. I don't know if they'll ever get them finished.
Yeah,
They've been working on them for a good while.
Yeah, they've been working on them for a good
Yeah.
while. They quit for years, and that Bill Sikora or whatever it was, and Smokey Joe was in here one day, and I talked to him, and I told Smokey Joe, I said, Smokey, we ever gonna work on them bridges again? And he said, let me see here. So he asked Bill Sikora, he said, you think we can get something going on about them bridges? And I think Sikora was one of the county commissioners or something. He said, I'll look into it right now. Within a week, they was working on the bridges again.
oh,
And they had quit for about 5 years. I've been hearing since the 50s that they was gonna put new bridges in there. Me and Davey, all three, has wrecked on one of them bridges one time.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Me and Charlie, brother Charlie was drunk, but bro was sober. And, but of course I ain't had nothing to drink since 1999. Every time I get in the BFS and play my numbers, I go back in the liquor part and those girls said, get out of there, David. You don't drink no more. I said, I know.
Yeah, every one of us was wrecked on one of them bridges.
Yeah.
Every
You
one-
wrecked in your brand new truck, didn't you? Or someone hit you in your brand new truck, didn't
My
they?
brand new car,
Oh, your brand new car.
brand new Chevelle Super Sport had 178 miles on it,
Oh, my
168, something
Oh,
like
my
that.
goodness.
And some dude, he had a big new Buick slid in the back of me. I stopped for that bridge. That Jim McCord, Sonny McCord was coming through it.
Oh, yes.
So I stopped going towards that way. And I stopped and that Pizzella, I think it was his name, guy behind me, had a big old Buick behind me. He couldn't stop and he hit me and shoved me into Sonny McCord's car.
Hmm.
Shoved me into him, tore up my car the worst because it got hit on both ends. Only had 178 miles on it.
Oh, Lord.
And I got out, I climbed out of my car and I went back and I was gonna kill that guy. I was gonna beat him to death. And man, he had a little boy standing up on the seat with him. He was just holding on to him in them days.
Yeah.
And that little boy was just screaming. And I was trying to pull him out the window of the car. He was screaming at me. Please sir, my boy's hurt, my boy's hurt, my boy's hurt. I said, you're gonna be hurt right with him, get the hell out. I was trying to pull him out the window. I ran into him about 6 or 8 months later up at Dallas Pine Room one night. I walked in there and there he was. He come running over and he seen me, he said, Kohler, you ain't still gonna wanna kill me, are you? I said, nah, I'm over that now. He said, man, I thought you were gonna beat me to death. I said,
I remember when I wrecked down there, I just left Dallas's, and I don't remember leaving Dallas. I was taking Tom Bryant home to Westover.
Oh, yeah, I
I said,
remember
my God, it was 3 days before Christmas, and I wrecked and tore up my Volkswagen. Wonder wasn't killed. If I'd been moved over a little bit more, I would have been killed. I hit a big Ford Fairlane. As soon as I hit that Ford Fairlane, I sobered up. The state trooper came down. I had a pint of whiskey. I threw it in the creek, and Tom Bryant got out. He was going to whoop those people. I said, no, Tom, leave him alone. Leave him alone. You know, Tom Bryant's a big old dude. He's about 6'3", 6'4". I said, leave him alone, Tom. I said, I'm in enough trouble. And the state trooper had me in the back of that car. I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, David, you've been drinking? I said, no.
not a drop.
And he must have felt sorry for me. And he gave me a ticket for just failure to yield the right of way. He said, okay, David.
The people in afternoon shift, it's like at 15 miles, but after work, they'd all go to what they call the beach or another bar.
Yeah.
And a
Sunset
lot of
Beach,
them,
I've
they'd
been
go
up
home.
there. Been up there too.
Yeah, me too.
It's because it just, they was in the mines and they wanted to wash the dust away, I guess.
Oh, yeah, we
I've
did
stopped
that.
a few times, but I didn't, well, I can't say I didn't have a wreck, I did have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
gentlemen,
Dallas
it's
was our
been,
favorite.
it's been really, really nice of you guys to come in here and sit and tell us about the coal mining days of yesteryear and the future of coal in West Virginia, and a lot of good stories, and we really appreciate you doing this for us.
We got 90 years of experience,
Well,
over
some
90
of it
years.
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, 90 years between
Over
all
90.
three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greg got 30 some, Davey got 30 some, and I got 30.
Yeah.
I quit whenever I was young. Whenever I hit a certain age, I said, I'm done, that's all.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this presentation about coal mining in the Scotch Run area, and the three gentlemen that were kind enough to come and talk to us today, and we'll see you next time.